Oh my goodness, there he is.
Hold on, Freddie.
Live in the
Hold
flesh.
on.
No,
It's
I will. I will.
we're connecting. Hold on.
I want to make sure that your Wi-Fi is perfect. You look very crispy. It's almost like 4K quality right
This
now.
7G.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I got it. It's different in Minneapolis. 7G.
It must be, man. Jeez, you're looking so crispy.
Oh my God,
Looking
I'm
great,
here, bro.
guy. You're
Come
looking
on, man.
great,
I'm
man.
here, bro. I'm here, man. How are you,
Listen,
Freddie? How are you?
I'm doing excellent, man. I want to say thank you for joining me on episode 4 of the Low Theory.
Yeah, man.
This is exciting. I appreciate you jumping in, brother.
Yeah, man. I always had a lot of respect for you in the Boston scene, and you were like a guy that I saw a lot. Always had a smile on your face, always showed me love, and you know what my vibe was like running around the streets and the things we did in the Middle East, and we were outside guys. Now I'm on the computer all day long. This is different, bro. I would get out of here, man.
No, it's true. It's true. And I want to talk about that because we do have history. We have history from Boston. But you've spent a majority of your time in Minneapolis. But let's circle back a little bit for the people who are not aware of you. You know, you were kind of big in the mixtape era, brother. So talk to me about like maybe what was your favorite mixtape that you put out and kind of the run that you had.
Yo, I mean, it was a thing that like I always, as much as I love being on the radio, I really wanted to be a respected mixtape DJ more than a respected radio personality. That was something that I held on very high esteem. Guys like Green Lantern and fucking Ron G blend tapes, Craig G shit, and even guys like Clinton Sparks locally were really inspiring to me and the tapes that they made. So being making the tapes that I made when I was in Boston and a lot of the street tapes I made that never made it to the internet that we're trying to digitize now. And then when I got into the radio, it was something that I had a lot of fun with. I stayed up to 4 o'clock in the morning, a lot of times making these tapes. I would make them from like 11 o'clock at night to like 4 a.m. when nobody was around, but I could be by myself and be creative. And they opened a lot of doors for me. And I made a lot of money, dude. I put out so many tapes. I used to charge independent artists. At one time, I was getting like $1,500 a tape, and I was like,
to host
other tapes you never even heard. Guys that just came through that were like I would do Machine Gun Kelly's tape, and then I would do 6, 7, 8, 10 tapes from Cleveland guys, and then I would do a tape from someone over here, and then 5, 6, 7 guys would say, host my tape. So I would be able to get boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
And it was an amazing hustle that outside of radio kept me just moving. You know what I mean?
Even back then in that time, you know, when I was doing rap stuff, which no longer I am, but it was different as far as that money because you could sell your CD for about $5 a pop, right?
Listen to me, man.
If you sell even just 1,000 copies, you already made $5,000.
Yo,
right?
I bought a truck off of mixtapes, man. Like, and I was under the radar. You know, I wasn't Clue. We had a great hustle. I remember.
He said I bought a truck off of mixtapes. Wow.
Yeah, 2001 Mercury Mountaineer.
That's awesome. What color was it?
It was burgundy, bro. It was awesome, bro.
That's dope.
I drove into Minnesota with all my sneakers in the back. It was a great hustle. I remember one time my man Jack Frost, the DJ from Worcester, he had gone into an accident. He had lost a finger, and his fingers had been damaged. His hand was damaged, and he was moving around getting to the money. And he loaned, made an investment into my career, and we pressed up 5,000 mixtapes. And I went around Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, everything, all through the hood in Boston, all through New England. We drove down to Fordham Road in the Bronx and went to like Sammy's Fashions and all these places and just gave this tape away, trying to get people excited about what I was doing.
Wow.
And making big investments. And just, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work. My favorite tape I ever made was probably, I have a tape called No Sleep Till Compton, and it's the definitive best of Ice Cube. And I have a drop from Ice Cube on the intro. I love that tape. I made a tape called The E-Talks, which was like all like Eminem freestyles off of Napster they were like pre-Slim Shady LP freestyles.
Wow.
And that tape did really well. It did 80,000 downloads, and it shut down like a website the first day it came out. It was crazy, man. Like the tapes were a lot of fun. It took a team though. Shout out to my man Kush and Zeke and people. It was like a group effort. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Now with all, with these mixtapes, of course, you're making connections, you're starting to meet new artists, right?
Yeah.
And you're building that whole network. Now,
Yep.
not only through the mixtapes, even now, you know a lot of people, bro. How do you maintain these relationships with these artists?
It's not easy. Yo, you have to like social media has leveled the playing field because you can like tap at people. You can be like, hey, what's up, bro? You can like comment, you can say stuff, and
Right.
people see everything. You can't, everybody looks at everything. So like it's made it a lot easier, but I will tell you it's a real challenge, and that's part of the magic of this thing is when you do get moments with people to make them laugh, to leave a lasting impression on them, to big them up, to make just to be cool. Like
And you are
go ahead.
that guy. You're very positive. Even with me throughout the years, you've always
Sure.
showed nothing but love. So I think you definitely have that effect on people.
Thank you. That's why I chose the business that we're in. I chose the business because I kind of knew that that was something that I was good at. Like I've been doing this my whole life is connecting with people, strangers. And I think that when I was really young, it was like, I like people, right? So like,
Hmm.
what's a
Hmm.
underground rap community is like amazing.
Right.
Working for a radio station and throwing a concert and having like all your P1 listeners there and people that listen every day in the car and getting a chance to meet people that you entertain. To me,
Right.
that was the best. That was like magic, bro. It's like
Right.
meeting the fans and hanging out. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, speaking of meeting people, um, we recently celebrated, not celebrated, but it's the
Sure,
2-year anniversary of
sure.
Nipsey Hussle's death. Rest
Yeah,
in peace.
yeah,
Now you actually knew Nipsey.
yeah. I did.
Can you
I
can you
did.
talk about that? The relationship that you had with him, like what type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
person that you saw in him personally?
Yeah, it wasn't that deep, but I had a good relationship with him. And it started when about 2009 when he came out with that "Feeling Myself" record and things that the hustle in the house with the crisscross beat. I remember
Hmm.
being gassed that somebody flipped crisscross,
Crazy.
and I was on the radio in Minnesota, so I had the green light to play records. And he was just a dope person. And then I think as the time grew, I watched him do the Jay-Z shit with the fucking $1,000 mixtapes and stuff like that,
Whoa.
$100
Yep.
mixtapes and
Yep. Yep.
crazy stuff that he did. And it was really cool that like I could see him grow. But then I interviewed him in 2011, and this was a really cool interview because we had known each other casually, but we had never connected. And then he came up to the radio station on a Saturday. Nobody cared that he was in town. He was doing a show in Baltimore. I was in Maryland and working for a DC radio station called WPGC 95.5, big heritage station out there. And he came up to the studio, and I remember being like, "Yo, Hustle, it's great to see you winning. Like you're working." And I remember thinking his sound was so regional. It's
Mm.
like West Coast gangster rap at that time was not a hot sound. It's before TDE. It's before Kendrick.
Okay.
It was kind of becoming like a marginalized regional sound to an extent, old
Right.
school. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
I kind of had that feeling, but I knew what the cloth he was cut from. So I kind of just did like a on the love interview. He came up and I was like, "Yo, I'm happy to see you winning." And he cut me off and he was like, "No, man." He's like, "I'm a big fan of your mixtapes." He started reading off tapes and like
Oh
telling me
shit.
that he had done his research.
Ooh.
And I remember being like, man, the next time I saw him was in Minnesota a few years later. And I was so excited to big him up for all his success. And it was
Yes.
like that what I took from Nipsey, and I put this today online, it's like love is love, bro. If you show love, you're gonna get love. If you make people feel good, they're excited to make you feel good. That's how real connections, relationships
100%.
happen. So I was proud that I was able to celebrate and congratulate him before he, passed away.
Right. Absolutely, man. An amazing story. Thank you for sharing that, brother. Now, on
Mhm.
the low theory, we kind of keep it sweet, simple, concise. I want you to talk
Yes,
about, yeah. Actually, I got two more questions for you because the time is we
let's
got some more
go.
we got some more time, but
We could, Freddie, we could kick it all night. I'm
I
here.
know we
Pause. I'm
could, man. I
here,
know
son.
we could, man.
I know.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yo, what in your opinion, we're
Yeah,
talking about, the relationships that you build. What
yeah.
was probably one of the we talked about best mixtape, your relationships, but what's one of the worst, like most awkward interviews you ever did?
Yo, I don't think that Lupe Fiasco likes me. And I've tried to kind of connect with him.
Shout out Lupe, man.
No, he's a fucking awesome rapper. I think he's a really talented, smart guy. But I never really click with Lupe. And then sometimes I feel like he likes me, and then sometimes I feel like he doesn't like me. And it's
what was that? What did he do that made you think that? Though?
I'm an energy guy, right? Like Freddie, you don't. If somebody's vibing with you, you can tell. If somebody's kind of like not feeling you, you could tell. I did an interview one time with Method Man. And I don't know if it was the timing, was personal life, anything. He was not really excited about doing the interview. And it was challenging being a fan and having him give me not the energy I was looking for. Now, listen, over time, I've been around Method Man, and I've kind of seen the way he carries himself. He's a very big, kind of like brooding guy.
Right.
He kind of like is who he is. You know, like I met Sean Price. Sean Price wasn't a very friendly guy, and I was cool with it. Like I'm like I expect this kind of energy from Sean Price, but with Lupe, I came in with such admiration, and it was kind of not. It just was. I couldn't vibe with him, so I think that's been one of my more difficult. And if Lupe's listening, I fucking think Lupe is great. He could really spit. He's awesome, man.
Man, I met Lupe a couple of times, man, but on some like fashion things. But that's interesting. Appreciate sharing that.
I couldn't click with him. I couldn't click with him.
Now, the homie in the comments is asking, yo, ask Peter Parker about Joe Budden.
Joe Budden, I don't think Joe Budden likes me either. And me and Joe Budden have the same birthday. We do. And we have the same birthday, August 31st. And I was a huge Budden fan. And he blocked me on Twitter. I'm blocked by Budden on Twitter. And I don't really know what it is. Budden is definitely an interesting alpha type personality.
And you've been rocking with Budden when he was getting production by Jay Carter.
Listen, I booked it the month I moved to Minnesota in 2006, February. I booked Budden for a Middle East show. And it was the first Middle East show. 06, I booked with Leeds downstairs. And
but I don't think he had a lot of love in Boston at that time, though, bro.
This was way prior.
You know what I'm talking about?
It was way prior to that. This is when he was off of the Mood Music series. Okay. And he came out, and I flew back and hosted it, and the show was crazy. I remember he had the Geno Green hoodie on, or the T-shirt or some shit with all the nines on, it. Right. Yeah. Now, I fuck with another guy that I got nothing but respect and love for, but they always say, don't meet your heroes, man. Don't meet your heroes, bro.
I can relate to that. Trust me, man. Listen, I want you to talk about, because we're talking about Joe Budden, it's transitioned into podcasts. But now you're doing the podcasting. You're doing it very well. So congratulations on that. If anybody in the chats or listening to this when we put it on the podcast is not aware of Mr. Peter Parker's podcast, tap in, follow him. It's new, but it's a great thing. It's great
brand
content.
New. I'm in there drinking a lot of Capri Sun.
So tell me about it. Tell the fans a little bit about it. Where can they find it and things like that.
Yeah, I would say like this. I see my man Brennan Boyd in the comments. He said Wale wasn't for me. A bad interaction. I almost wanted to fight Wale the first time I met him. I literally almost fought him, and we squashed it, and we're super cool now. And it's like he's a certain duck, bro. He's a Virgo type alpha weirdo, but he's the man. But I didn't get along with Wale. That's
wow.
Me and Wale were like, I felt disrespected. You know what I mean? Like, I had a lot of weird interviews, man. I've done probably 500-600 interviews with rappers. I'm not gonna lie, maybe 500.
I can believe it. The table was a turn now. Now you're getting interviewed.
I'm with it. You know me, man. I'm ready to go. I'm like, let's go. The podcast is cool, man. It's something different than radio. And it's a chance for me to talk and be normal myself, not really feel like I have to be pressured speech and try to get things out in a certain fast pace between songs, or feel like someone in the other room is listening how long I'm talking on the radio. And, yo, we can do this bit and be funny, but we can only talk for 45 seconds.
Right.
Like, it's hard. It was really hard to play that. When I first got on the radio in D.C. and I could only talk between the songs, they wouldn't let you talk off the back end of the song and then up the front end. So you could either talk what the intro start, then you could talk, or you could talk off the back end and play the record. So you could really talk for like 12 seconds here or 7 seconds here.
Wow.
And trying to get call letters off.
Trying to squeeze in all that.
Bro, WPGC 95.5, your boy Mr. Peter Parker hanging out with Freddie Lowe. Coming up, we got that new one from Drake.
Jeez.
That's how I had to talk on the radio sometimes to get through stuff. So now I can kind of be more of myself. I say fucking crazy words that you can't say on the radio naturally. Right. And so I think it's going to be a little bit more R-rated and less like, you know.
Yeah, it's dope, man. I think it's great, especially with, you know, you found another outlet and you're doing it well.
Thank you.
So congrats to that. Last question, so we can end it off. What's the best Boston film you've ever watched? Like a film filmed in Boston, but Boston related.
Yo, I would tell you probably my favorite Boston movie would be probably, man, and it's tough because the town is such a big deal. Because we managed town. Me and Leeds managed Slane. We were there with helping George get started. I was there from when he was first coming home from like having drug problems and stuff. So it was like we were so proud to Slane to see him.
He did a great job.
I would say my favorite one would probably be Gone Baby Gone, because I was so closely connected to Slane, and when I saw it in the movie theater in Minnesota, I jumped up when I saw my friend, a guy that I was friends with, that we had been through the trenches with, on a fucking major motion picture. I jumped up in the thing like it was a touchdown, bro. I was like, one of the goons made it. Like, it was like, this guy's from the bottom, and he did it. So
no, he did.
That was something. Gone Baby Gone, maybe not the best Boston movie, but I think that they're showing the personalities and seeing my friend on, and then years later, coming back to Boston, living in Southie, and having Slane pick me up in the Navigator that was identical to the one in the movie in Southie, to go like hang out or go to breakfast or something, and being like, what is this? Like, did you steal this from the fucking set? Like,
yo, that's crazy, man. Crazy. Salute to Slane, man. Great guy.
Yo, he's the best.
He did amazing in both those movies. Two great movies, man.
Here's a great acting story about Slane, right? So one time he picked me up at 6 o'clock in the morning in Southie on O Street when I was living at my sister's house after I'd been on the radio for a while. I was in between jobs. He was coming back from Worcester, and he was wilding, making records. He picked me up at like 6 a.m. to go get breakfast, because this is something we would do, and he knew I was probably the only person awake at 6 a.m. So he came, and he's like, yo, you have any weed? And I'm like, yeah, I have some weed. I wasn't smoking weed at the time, but I had some weed. So I was like, you can have it. So I rolled this joint for him, and we're driving through Southie, and he's smoking a joint. And the cops pull us over. And Slane has been lit and partying and recording all night, and he's smoking a joint in his car with me, and we're driving through the neighborhood in South Boston. You know how tight these neighborhoods are.
Right.
At 6:15 in the morning. And he says to me, don't say a word. And he pulls over, he puts the joint out, and the cop comes over like, what's going on, fellas? What's happening, guys? And George goes, you know, local 146, they got us back up on the roof today, you believe it? And he's like, yeah, get there, have a good day, get to the job, guys. And he looks at me in the car, and he looks back, and he drives off, and he's like, and he drives off. And I'm like, yo, you're gonna get an Oscar. You're gonna get an Oscar, bro. You're gonna get an Oscar.
Duh, that's amazing, man.
The accent.
That's
like,
amazing.
Hey, what are you guys doing? He's like, yeah, you know, we're back on the roof. He's like, I'm like, yo. He's like, don't say anything.
Oh my gosh, man, that's amazing, bro.
My brother, man. Shout out to him, man, and all his sobriety and everything. He's the man, bro.
Yes, absolutely. He's looking like he's in a much better place for sure.
The man. He's a legend, man.
Yo, thank you for chopping it up with me. We might have to do a part 2.
I'm ready
We
tomorrow.
might have to do a part 2 because the conversation is so natural and flowing.
You didn't even ask me about Wyoming or going with Kanye.
Yeah,
and shit. That's a whole episode, bro.
You're gonna kill me, man, because I gotta export this audio file.
I know.
But you know what?
I know.
Let's go. No, let's go.
I'm gonna give you some. Okay,
I'm gonna give you a couple minutes. No, because I did want to ask you about Kanye. I wanted to ask you about the whole vibe in Wyoming. So
it was weird.
Let's go, man. Tell me, because did you have your own bonfire? Like,
I was at the big bonfire. I was at the big one. So Chris Rock hosted the bonfire.
Yeah.
When we were there, we were in this barn for a while, hanging out. It was really weird. It was like being put into it was a barn filled with A-list celebrities, like Chris Rock and Nas and Kim Kardashian and all her people, and it was really surreal because I'd never been around I've interviewed A+ celebrities and shit before, and like in Hollywood and stuff, and like red carpets and everything, but this wasn't that. This was like a consolidated group of folks, like in a private location. No one knew what was going on. And so, you know, I could talk about this for an hour, to be honest with you. There's so many little stories inside of this. I mean, I interacted with Nas and
had you ever been to Wyoming before that?
Fuck no, bro. Never. But it was,
I've never been there either.
Dude, and it was, the mountains are like surreal. Like, it's like, it blows your mind that there's a mountain that big right next to you. It's makes the shit in New Hampshire look like nothing.
Right.
And so I would tell you the highlight of the trip, though, and I would tell you when I met Kanye. And so I had gotten into, coming back from the bonfire shit, we had gone into like a bus, and me, Felly Fell from Power 106 in LA, and my buddy Noah from Def Jam had gotten into like an argument screaming match on the bus with Dame Dash. And we were on the bus debating whether radio was relevant or not for like 45 minutes in the dark in Wyoming, and Dame was like doing his thing. It was real Dame Dash. So it was like a chance to jump up and like argue with Dame. I was in, you know what I mean? I don't even know, what are we talking about? Like, what was going on? I'm like, I'm in, you know? So afterwards, we went back to this bar and we hung out at this like country bar, and all the local townies were there, but then all the celebrities like Fabulous and Lil Yachty and Big Sean and we're all in this fucking like country bar with country music playing. So my buddy Noah was like, I'm going to introduce you to Kanye. And at the time, this is when Kanye was doing the like, I don't know, slavery was a choice thing, and he was wilding on TMZ, and he was really jumping off the deep end, and the Trump stuff was happening, and he was really turning a lot of people off. I didn't really hate him, but I was really just turned off. I was like disappointed at the direction he was going, and I was losing a connection with him, you know? And not the original thing that I signed up for, but fuck me, for real. You know, it's not about me. But here's the thing. I'm in the party, and they're gonna introduce me to Kanye. So I'm like, all right, I gotta say what I feel. I can't be like, oh, Kanye, thank you for having me. Like, I have to be real, right? Like, I'm psyching myself out. Like, don't be a fucking groupie, dog. Like, say how you feel, right? So I'm in the barn, whatever, and Dame is to the left, and we're like I'm buying a Miller Genuine High Life, like the champagne of beers, like handing them to Dame Dash at the bar. There's a 7-foot country man next to me, like this tall, like with a fucking hat. So I'm like, Kanye comes towards me, and he's like, the 7-footer had been right next to me the whole night. And Kanye comes towards me, and Noah is a big wig at Def Jam. He's like the president or vice president of rhythmic promotions for the whole company.
Oh, wow.
And so he's like, yo, this is my bro. And so he's like, yo, yay, this is Mr. Peter Parker, a programmer in Minneapolis, whatever. And so I get introduced at 1 o'clock in the morning to Kanye right in front of Dame. And he leans in, and I dap Kanye up. He's like 5'7". I'm like 6'2". You know what I mean? I'm like lean in, I dap him up, and I look at him and I pull him back, and I go, and I'm holding his hand, you know, like, and I look at him and I go, I got to keep it real, man. I'm not feeling any of that shit you've been saying on TV or none of the shit you're on right now. And I shook his hand again, like on some, like, I fuck with you though. And he looked at me weird, and I said, listen, man, I was like, to each his own. I said, but I want to tell you as a day one fan, I said, you look good. The music sounds great. And I genuinely, honestly wish you the best. And he was like, thank you, man. And we dapped again. And then I was like, he goes, hey, what do you think about the music that they're playing in here? And it's like country western fucking hoedown shit. And I'm like, I don't like this at all. What do you mean?
Right, right.
He's like, oh, I love it, man. I'm so used to trap music at the after party. And at that point, I had like a shock, like it was shocking that I was talking to Kanye West. It was like
Wow.
I was like shocked. I was like, oh shit,
this guy.
This is Ye.
Most people in that position, right, getting to meet Ye for the first time, megastar, probably would have faked it a little bit. And like you just said, your album's incredible. You're doing this incredible, but you kept it absolutely 100%
but I'm not
authentic.
feeling none of that shit you've been saying. And he looked at me like I just flew you here for this shit, and you're going to diss me. But I mean,
it really wasn't a diss. No, it was more like maybe he could look into himself a little bit and take whatever you said. And listen, I don't know.
I just wanted to leave. I wanted to leave the situation knowing that I had kept it authentic with him and with me and with everybody. And after that night, then we kind of laughed. And so here's how. Then he went to Dame, right? So then he goes to Dame. He chops it up with. I see him and Dame like hugging and watching Dame Dash and Kanye like salute each other to the corner. It was really cool.
Yeah.
The big 7-footer leans in. He's like, "Do you know him?" And I was like, "I don't know him, but I met him." I was like, I just met him now. I was like, "What do you want to do?" And he's like, "Can you introduce me to him?" And I'm like, I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Seb." I was like, "Okay, let's do it." So Kanye turns around. I'm feeling myself at this point. He turns around. I slap Kanye in the chest. I smack him and I go, "Hey, Ye." I go, "Ye." Hey. So I said, the big man wants to shoot his shot. And Kanye looks at the big man and he leans in. He goes, "Where do you get that hat?" And it's like a Kanye West Wyoming promo hat.
Okay.
He's like, it's, I don't know. He's like, "Can I have that hat?" Kanye takes the hat off his head, puts it on top of the big man's other hat. So now the big man's wearing two hats. Kanye looks at me, does the shrug, and just walks into the crowd.
Wow. That is amazing, man. What a story, dude.
I had to give you that one, man. That's a great story, man.
I love that.
I can see it like a movie.
Right,
and it was,
right.
And at this day, you know what, man? I in my time with these people, you just want to be honest. People respect honesty. Yeah. I got jobs because I told people they'll go fuck themselves sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be bold, man. You really got to be bold.
Man. Yo, I appreciate you being so authentic. And again, thank you so much for joining me on episode 4, brother. I'm telling you, I'm very open to an episode for a part 2. Trust me.
Listen, man,
incredible, brother.
I'm happy to be here, Freddie. You are the man.
Listen, thank you, man. Where can they follow you? Where can they find you? Tell the people.
Man. At all social media at Mr. Peter Parker. It's real simple. No dots or spaces. I got a YouTube channel, the Mr. Peter Parker Show. That's the kind of brand I'm running with right now. Something I've been doing for a long time. And we have a great podcast up. We have a new episode dropping on Tuesday with Ransom. We have an episode right now with Crime Apple out. We talked to DJ Enough. We had some good ones. Capadonna came on right after the Ghostface battle with Raekwon. So I'm just trying to tap in with some friends and talk about culture and just have fun, man. You know, you Absolutely. See, like I like to tell stories.
It's great. It's great.
I have a lot of stories. My man's MSP needs to be back on the radio. I'm here. I came here for the radio. You know what I mean?
Listen, the chats are going crazy. People really enjoy you. People love to see you, man. So we might have to tap in and do this part 2. But for now, bro, thank you so much for joining me on the Low Theory episode 4. Let's keep in touch, brother.
Yo, let me know. I'm here anytime, Freddie. Good luck.
All right, brother. Peace.